Yeah,
It's good to have you here, Marcus. For those of you who haven't seen that wonderful beard of his before, Marcus, our email marketing expert over here at Zero Marketing. So it's good to have him on here. I was trying to do the timeline math. We've known each other for like 7 or 8 years.
I want to say 2017, maybe 2018, something like that. Yeah, I know we're getting old. We're getting old. We're getting up there.
Hey, so that sounds about right.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, we've done a lot together, man. This has been fun. So yeah, and we pulled Marcus into our Facebook group a couple weeks ago when he was like, I want to get in there and talk to some people. Doing a little bit of searching here. One of the questions that kind of goes out on the group every so often is like, what's something you're struggling with? And there was a long thread in the group, Practical Business Collective on Facebook, by the way. We'll put a link in the description, but the answer was sales marketing, right? Like that's really fucking hard for the tech industry. So we wanted to take today this conversation and just give some very easy fundamentals that you can apply today directly to your business and just kind of get right into it. So, like I usually do on these chats, I'm gonna shut up,
Yeah, yeah.
let Mark get in, and
Yeah, so like Brian said, today is going to be the topic of like tactical marketing one-on-one, from attention to sales, like a clear path for restricted brands, because that's obviously especially hard for restricted brands. Let's be honest here. And yeah, so like Brian said, I'm the email marketing expert and the copywriter at Zero Marketing. So I thought I would take this opportunity and hop on you today and help you guys out by giving you a very simple outline about how to think about marketing. So we are going to cover three main channels of marketing today to give you a bit of an overview, which is very simple, essentially having one-on-one conversations with people, creating content, which is essentially still having one-on-one conversations with people, but you are able to scale that through social media or wherever you post your content. The third channel is the basics of running paid ads. And one thing I want you to understand is that fundamentally marketing is very, very simple. I know we have all of that technology and thousand techniques and systems and all of that, but at the end of the day, you're really just one person talking to another. So in order to make a sale, you need a couple of things. You need to get the attention from the right people. You need to have their trust. You actually need to make them an offer. And then also very important and most often overlooked by most people, you're also allowed to follow up and engage with these people again. And like I said, especially in the tactical space, we have one extra problem, which is the platform restrictions. So I'm going to go through those challenges today also a bit. So in your business, you need reliable systems that don't rely on the permission of other people for you to run your business, because at the end of the day, we all have bills to pay. So we don't really want to be at the mercy of some kind of algorithm. And today they like you, tomorrow they don't, and then the business is gone. Like that's not really any way to live your life. I mean, we know it
yeah,
firsthand. It's very stressful for everyone involved. The fundamental problem with marketing for a lot of tactical business owners is they encounter some kind of problem. Like my ads aren't working, Instagram hates me, my website traffic is low, but all of those are symptoms of an underlying problem. And the real problem here is either your offer, your audience, your message, or you aren't following up. So let me give you some specifics. Like your offer isn't just what you sell, but also how you present it. And obviously with your audience, that's quite simple. Maybe your audience is too broad, maybe it's too random, maybe you aren't reaching the people that are actually interested in you. And then if you do reach these people, you need to have the right message. You need to be clear, why should they buy from you and why should they buy now? And then obviously the follow-up is the big oopsie daisy that a lot of people do. Very few people buy on first contact. Like I can't remember the last time I bought something just like that immediately, and I don't know the person behind it. So it's a continuous process where people learn to trust you, and that's why That's very, very important. So the offer is really the core of what you present in all of these three different channels. So first of all, I want to think about this. So I really want you to dial it in. If you can't explain what you sell, who it's for, and why it's worth it, the benefits of it, in like a elevator pitch in 10 seconds, that's your first step. You wanna really get that dialed in. So for example, if you're like selling tactical gear, something very weak to say would be like, we are doing premium gear made with quality materials. Like, of course, why you're laughing because you've seen it a lot, but I mean, that's just so vague. Everyone is saying that. It doesn't really mean anything. So
Means
much
nothing.
better would be, for instance, going like, we have gear that survives the hard use without you having to rebuy it every 3 months. So there immediately you have a much stronger offer. You have your benefits, you are concrete. And yeah, let's get into the three main marketing paths that I will cover today. So you have your one-on-one conversations. Those can be DMs, calls, in-store. If you're on the range, if you're just chatting with your buddy, then you have your content, which is like your organic trust engine, which gives people a way to engage with you, to learn more about your business, to trust you. And then you have paid ads, which is essentially attention on demand, which is a bit more advanced. So if you're like really just starting out, I would recommend you stay away from that for a while until you have like a bit of a budget there and you know a bit what you're doing. One thing I want you to keep in mind is these three marketing paths, they aren't competing. They, they are complementary to each other. Later down the line, all of that should be part of your business. So if you're just starting out, I would focus on talking one-on-one and doing easy peasy content. I'm going to talk about those a bit more specific in a second, but if you are already down the line and then you have your finances in order, you have budget, then I would look at content and ads. And underneath all of these three sits email. Email is very, very important. So that's the one I'm going to cover last, but email allows you to essentially do all of that simultaneously. You have one-on-one conversations with people, but you also are talking to your list of 100 buyers, 1,000, 10,000 buyers at the same time.
Yeah.
You can distribute your content to it completely unhindered by the restrictive algorithm. And obviously, you can also run your offers through it. So,
Before you go too far away from this, I want to call out just, I
mm,
mean, regardless of how big a company is, I think it's always good to stick to that first part, like the one-on-one, the
yes.
phone call, the direct email to someone. Obviously, DMs and talking to people in person are great,
Mm,
but all deal on the digital side. I don't think a business is ever too big to have those. I mean, just with
absolutely.
it it keeps you very in touch with your customer. So yeah,
Mm,
even if you're, got a couple $1 million in revenue a year and things are going great, you
mm,
know, it, you have to be able to stop, press pause, get in there and have a conversation. I've suggested that to a bunch of our clients time and time again, because when we we collect all your information, we know your name, your phone number, we know your email address. It doesn't take too long to say, hey, I want to, we've had this one person, this one customer, it put a lot of money into our company because they love what we do. I'm going to call them. I want to get their
mm,
feedback. I mean, that's not going to make you make more money, so to speak, but it will give you a better insight on the other side. So whether you are just starting or you have a great thing going for you already, take a minute today and look at your list. Find a couple people to call this week. I think that would be a huge thing. You might learn some really cool stuff about your company or maybe some really bad stuff that you can fix.
yeah, like those one-on-one conversations are really the main feedback you're gonna get on your business, on your offer, on your product. At the end of the day, you do have to talk to your customers. Otherwise, you're not running a business. And then you can take that information about like what did they like, what did they dislike, how was the buying experience for them, and you can implement that in your business. Like it often happens that people, especially as things get busy, as companies grow, they get so removed from the customers that they essentially live in a fantasy land of their own researching and developing and spending a lot of money on things that actually aren't relevant anymore to their customers. Keep your hand on the pulse of what your customer actually wants and what they're troubled with, and all of that is going to make your offers and your conversations and your marketing and all of it that much stronger. So talking about those kind of offers, so if you aren't sure yet how to frame your offers, I want to give you a little bit of a checklist here, the way to think about it, because you aren't just selling a product. You're talking to a person, and that person wants something specific. They want a certain outcome. They don't just make economical decisions. We aren't little robots. At the end of the day, there are lots of emotions involved. So fundamentally, your offer should answer a couple of questions like, who is this for? Like, what problem does it solve? What outcomes do they get? Why should I buy it from you? Why should I buy it now? And what do they risk if they don't? So essentially, there is some kind of outcome that your customer wants. Then there is the trust that they have in you personally, which is like the likelihood of them buying from you. Do they fundamentally believe you? Then how soon are they going to get that outcome? And how hard is that? So to give you some specific examples, because maybe you're thinking, yes, I'm just selling, this knife and it's a knife and please buy it. And that's the totality of my conversation that I'm going to have about that. But it's actually not, because people, if they like buy a blade, for instance, it's like a blade they can trust when it matters. A blade that doesn't break, that does its job, that doesn't leave them hanging when they're in a camping trip on the woods and then it's over. So that would be something that you could mention in your offer, a blade that you can actually trust when it's matter. And you bank that up with like basic proof, It's so astonishing to me how many people never do any of that, especially business owners, like show their actual process, show any kind of proof. So like if you're making knives, here's our process. Here's how we test the knives, here's how we make them, here's how we heat treat them, or whatever you do. It's so very simple, like I said, that sort of touches upon content already, but it doesn't have to be like this huge expensive thing. Just like take out your phone, like a 10-second video. Here's me doing the thing here. That's the thing you're gonna do. That's the thing you're gonna buy. And here's it being produced. Easy peasy. Slide that on social media or wherever you're talking to your customers, and that's already going to do lots. Lifting. Or like for instance, if you're doing like range training, it's not just come by for a day, shoot a gun and go home again. It's like people want something specific. Maybe they want to learn how to shoot, they want to feel confident carrying. And then you can like talk to them directly and be like, hey, here are the credentials of our instructors, here are the results that our students got, here is the curriculum, the learning plan, what you're doing, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about specific offer. It's not just a product, it's all of that combined. Like if you're doing the range training, for instance, say, on one Saturday, you come by and you leave with a plan. Or if you are training for a competition, we're going to get you ready for that. Like I said, people always want something specific. Also, if you're in the firearm industry, it's never just, buy a gun out of the 10,000 guns I happen to sell. It's like people have questions, they are concerned, they want the right seller for them. So you can talk to them in that way. You can earn their trust by doing, buyer guides, by doing bundles, talking about the compatibility. And that also could be one of your actual offers, not just we sell guns, but, we build you the setup so you don't have to, because, at the end of the day, whatever you're selling, you are the expert in that topic, and that's why people are talking to you. That's why they are coming to you.
They're buying
So-
the short.
Exactly. I mean, no one wants to figure it all out on their own and then realizing, oh crap, I'm doing it all wrong. So like that's why people talk to you. So like talk to them on. Yeah, so the first part, talking one-on-one, what you really want to do is like turn the conversations into sales without being pushy. And I really want to be very clear here, sales inherently, it's not manipulation, it's nothing sleazy. It's really just offering we help to people. And those conversations, they can happen all over the place. Maybe you're talking to people in the DMs, maybe you're in groups, maybe it's websites, maybe it's in person, range encounters, maybe you have a freaking water store and that's where you're talking to people, maybe you're talking to them. So I want to give you a very simple, very easy framework on how to turn those conversations into sales. And it's so straightforward and simple. It doesn't even read like a sales script or anything like that, because essentially you're just offering your help to people. So what you're going to do is essentially step 1, you diagnose, step 2, you prescribe, and step 3, you offer. So in detail, the way it would look like is just asking someone, what are you running now? Or like, what's the situation you're trying to solve? What have you tried? And then you just offer them your advice. Here's what I would do if I were you. Would you like me to show you the correct seller for you? And it's really as simple as that. So like if you're selling gear, they come with a question to you, like what kind of gear should I buy? You will just ask them a couple of questions and then prescribe the right solution for them. And like if you're selling knives, you're very, very straightforward, just normal conversation. That's already said. What are you using it for? Do you want an everyday carry? Are you hunting? Are you camping? Are you doing hard work with it? And then, prescribe, use your expertise. Here are the options right for you. It's really, really as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's guns or knives or whatever it is in the tactical, like a lot of folks, I think when they get a little bit deeper into business, they realize, hey, like the business is doing well, they've got a couple extra bucks in their pocket.
Mhm.
For the most part, we're still selling to blue collar men and women, like that,
Oh, yeah.
like a couple $100 on a knife or $1,000, $2,000 on a rifle. That's a lot of money. Like that is money that I have this extra money I could put into doing the roof or doing and getting a new water heater. I'm like, no, but I want to buy a gun instead. Like those are big decisions.
So yes, and people always have questions if that's a big decision because they don't want to make the wrong choice. So like that's really where you just have that normal conversation, and that's all it takes. And it can really be as simple as that. But it often gets overlooked. People thinking they need these fancy strategies and all of that. Just first of all, just talk to the people. It's really as simple as that. And then for the second part, creating content. Content is great because it already builds trust at a scale before they even talk to you. It's proof, it's education, it talks about their objections, it gives you an identity of who they trust and who they buy from. So you aren't just a nameless, faceless brand, but someone they actually have some sort of relationship with. And like 4 content ideas, which are very easy to start with, are like just doing the how-to and the education. Those are the questions that they would already Google. Is this right for me? Is that kind of setup? Is this what I want, or is it the other thing? Like what's right for me? Then just presenting them proof, here's the behind the scenes process, here are the results, here are the tests that we use our product on, and it shows it's good. Or like also very good content ideas are just customer stories. Someone wanted an outcome and they bought our thing and they got it, and of course you can also, it's allowed, was actually make offers in your content. And all of that, like I said, especially in the beginning, doesn't need to be some high production, extensive thing. That can be as simple as you whipping out your phone, getting the cord and going, hey, by the way, we got this new product into there. Here's what it does. And we have that many available. Here's the link if you want to check it out. Done, posted, easy peasy. Once the thing I want to mention specifically is if you're in the business, especially that's kind of tough business that tactical business owners are in, you're probably in it because you're passionate about it, you're enthusiastic about it. And that is something that often gets overlooked. You don't have to be like super professional about it, but show your enthusiasm to people. Show that you care, show that you're passionate about it, and that is something that really translates well and shows people that you are the right person to buy from. So please do that. I guarantee you it works very well. So absolutely. Yeah, like content ideas if you're doing firearms. Here are like the 3 common mistakes that ruin the rifle setup, or like how to choose your optic without ending up hating your life. Or like if you're doing lives, just common problems, here's why your edge rolls and how to stop it. Or like the role of steel, if you're doing range training, like here the 5 safety habits that prevent 99% of incidents, or what to expect when you come to our class. Essentially, those are just the conversations that you have with people. And then you just end it with, if you want our help, if you want the setup, I have made some content for you. I've got a guide for you. I've got a bundle. I've got this product. Check it out. That's really as simple as that. So as you can probably already see, a lot of marketing doesn't have to be like this overly complicated thing. Just the fundamentals that you do repeatedly day after day that are going to drive the sales. So now for the a bit more advanced stuff, for the paid ads, have a certain place. If you're like scaling the business, they are very, very good for that, but they do require that some investment compared to the first two that you can do technically for free if you want. And the truth about the ads in the restricted industries is that you can't always sell directly because you have the algorithms, and if they don't like your content, they can just kick you off the platform, and it's essentially just flushing money down the toilet. Nobody likes that, so you want to have a bit of a careful approach, and you hopefully have some people that are already know what they're doing there. So my recommendation would be to, if you try to do it yourself, be careful with the content and first do educational stuff, maybe lead capturing, and then you can monetize it on the back end. So like you will send that traffic to perhaps where you already post your content. Maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's your website, maybe you have your guides. Maybe you send it to a lead magnet where you capture the email address and then you do the actual sale of the specific restricted items in the email, which that's a great strategy. Or then you have the option of retargeting people if they've been already to your website. You can talk to them again, you can get their attention back. Like I said earlier, it usually takes a couple touch points with people before they're ready to buy. So on the front end, if you choose to run ads, you usually want some kind of compliant content, like mistakes people make while doing their setup. And here you have to be very, very careful with your wording to not trigger algorithms. So it's a bit more of the advanced stuff, which sort of leads me into email marketing, which that's should be, if it isn't already, the backbone of your business, because there you get to avoid all of the headache of the algorithms, and there you actually find stability in your business because you aren't relying on like, does Facebook like me today? Never mind, my business is gone. Does
No, it
Instagram
doesn't.
hate me
Never liked
today?
us.
Yeah, I know it doesn't like us. So it's also the only channel if you aren't doing paid ads where you can talk to your customers for free. So if you've got a bit of a business going and you have some email addresses collected and you aren't sending them any emails, you're just leaving money on the table. That's just straight up. It's those customers have given you a great, great gift. You can talk to them for free. Period. You know how big of a deal that is in marketing. Very few things in life are free. Especially if you are in like those restricted industries. The email list isn't optional. It's the insurance. It's the one channel that people can never take away from you, no matter what kind of system you have running. If you have your email list, you are good to go and you can create that revenue month after month. And if there's a new policy change to and everyone else is running around screaming and losing their head, you're going to be okay because they can't take away the channel from you.
Oh, yeah.
Email still, it seems a bit almost old-fashioned these days, but it's still like the one channel where most sales online are made. because, day after day, you can build that relationship with people. You can turn one-time buyers into repeat buyers, and you aren't being throttled by anything. You don't have any end budget restrictions, none of that stuff. You don't have the algorithm restrictions. And also, just by continuously showing up in people's lives in that kind of small way, they build a relationship with you, where they trust you, where if in the future they ever need the thing that you are selling, you are in the back of their mind, and they're like, hey, that guy has been talking to me for like a year. I've been following him. He's the guy I go to for my needs now. So that's really the position we want to be in. And I'm just going to give you like a short overview of email marketing in general. So like you have your automations. Those are, as the name would suggest, automatic. So you set them once and they essentially work forever. Then you have your campaigns. Those are one-off emails that you send off to your list. And in those campaigns, you can do different things like for content, you can build trust, you can tell stories, you can educate people, and you can also send your offers. So if you haven't got anything set up right now, the must-have automations where most of your money is going to come from is like the backup flow. That's like the emails that people get when they first sign up. It's like maybe simple emails that you could write yourself, of course. We'll have a professional write it for you. So the email is professional, but but what you essentially want to do is like just be straight, very straightforward. Here's what you stand for. Here's the product we do. Here are our bestsellers. Here's who those bestsellers are for. Here's a bit of proof. Here's the offer. That can be spaced out over a couple of emails, and just one really gives people a lot more to engage with immediately. Then the second one, very, very important, is the abandoned cart one. Like, because people abandon carts all the time. I mean, I've done it, you've done it, everyone has done it a lot. They usually don't convert immediately. So if you aren't talking to them at that point, that's just lost money. And people are busy, people forget, even if they intend to buy, maybe the dog needed to go out or the kids had to be picked up from school, and that would have been revenue that would have gone straight into your bank account. So like, if you do nothing else, abandoned cart. Absolutely. And like I said earlier, it sells, but it doesn't have to be a hard sell. It can be a simple like, hey, remember this? If you're still selling, that's fine, but it's there if you want it. As easy as that. The variation of the abandoned cart is like the boss abandonment, which is if they hadn't added it to cart already, but they looked at it. And if they looked at it, you can simply show them more things to look at. And that actually is just another way to make more sales, get that revenue up. It's a very obvious one. It's a very overlooked one. And yes, then the next one is the post-purchase one. So there you can just engage with people because ideally you not just want to have them to buy once, you want them to continually buy from you. So just talk to them after purchase. Here's how to set it up. Here's how to care for the thing. Here's how to get the most of it. And also, if you like this, maybe you like the other thing too. And a percentage of those people, they will like the other thing and they will buy the other thing. And they won't have if you didn't show it to them. Because a lot of people also don't know, especially if you aren't having those flows, if you aren't having those conversations. People often don't even know what other things you sell. Simply tell them, and that will generate revenue. And the final one I would recommend would be the Windex flow, which is essentially if they haven't engaged in a while, you just reach out to them. It's like the usual follow-up. Hey, I was still interested. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we can do for you. Here's the new product that we have. Here's the new upgrade you are maybe interested in. Very simple stuff. So if you're just starting out with email, I would recommend send at least one email per week. And you can
Easy to do.
very easy to do this. And you can have like a couple of variations where you can do a bit of education, maybe you can do a story, maybe you can show them a bit of proof. you offer your day-to-day services, or of course, if you have like a promo going on, if you have a specific offer, if you have a bundle, if something seasonal is going on. One thing I would not recommend, and a trap that people often fall into, don't just send out discounts. Email is talking to people one-on-one to build trust, to build a relationship. If all you ever do is send out discounts, people get used to
That's
that.
all
They
they're gonna
expect that. It's essentially you're just cheapening your brand. So stay away from that. Instead, like, there is a lot going on in your business every day. I know it. We all know it. We are really stressed out, all of us. I know it. But then talk to people about what's going on, about your day to day, about what you're interested in the business itself, what kind of products you're considering. Just have a conversation with people. It's really as simple as that. Hmm? All right. All right, so like that's email. Fundamentally, the formula is very simple. Make more offers to more people more often, whatever channel you use, and that's going to drive up your revenue. So I want you, especially if you're struggling with sales and marketing, to like just pick one path this week. Don't try to do it all at once. But if you want stability, especially, have a look at email. You get that one core offer dialed in and put out a bit of content, engage with people in one-on-one conversations. Yes, so I hope that gave you some idea about the business and marketing one-on-ones for the tactical niche. If you want more specific advice, we do have a weekly email newsletter. We're going to put the links to it down below. And for the newsletters, like you have the Zeroed In marketing newsletter. And I also have like my own personal general marketing newsletter. And of course, we have the business Facebook group. We're going to put a link to that also in the description if you aren't in there yet. Get in there right away. We post a lot of content that you're going to find very helpful. And obviously, we're also around if you think you want our specific help with something. Have a look at the links in the description. And yeah, I hope this is helpful. So please let us know. It's like the first time for me doing this as a podcast. So please let us know what you think, if you found that helpful, what kind of other content you would like to see, what you're struggling with, what you need advice with. And yeah, maybe we're going to do a single episode if this one did well. And yeah, so that's it from me. Yeah, any final words, Brian?
No, man, I appreciate it. I think that this could be easily a 2-3 hour Joe Rogan style conversation here. So
Of
we're
course.
definitely gonna have to bring you back in and pick something. Maybe we can put a post up in the group and get people to ask
Hmm.
specific we can really go down the rabbit hole with.
Of course.
But this is perfect. I mean, it's a good kind of overview of what everyone
Hmm.
should kind of go back, look at their own businesses, sales and marketing strategy if they have
Hmm.
one, and say like, okay, here's the framework. Where am I missing these pieces, and what's one thing that I can focus on this week and
Hmm.
next? It's really easy to get lost in the mix. In you have life, you got business, you have so
Yeah,
many
of course.
parts of business. People can get anything out of this. Just pick one thing this week and make a plan. Maybe you don't even have to implement it this week, but just say, hey, I suck at content. I know I need to do this content, and just start making a list. Or like, hey, maybe you got content locked down and your emails, like you're getting emails from a pop-up on your site or something, but they're just sitting there. Start formulating a plan. And I'll put all this
Absolutely.
show notes so people can say, yeah, they can steal the plan that you've written up. We'll send it.
Oh, absolutely. They should. That's what I'm here for. Yes.
Cool,
All
man.
right.
Well, that'll do it, man. Let people get back to business.
All right. In
Thank
that case, thank you very much for watching the Zero and Marketing Podcast. We hopefully see you next time.
you. Absolutely.